So anyway, we're discussing over here about how big of a mistake witnesses that testify, how much of a discrepancy can you have, how many hours of difference between one witness and the next. Can it be 1 hour, 2 hours? Anyway, the Gemara said that it could be an hour, 2 hours, a half hour. So the Gemara on top of Amud Aleph, Yud Beis Amud Aleph, the Gemara says that the fact is like this, that we're saying that the testimony is true, and they do match up. However, there is some discrepancy here, but that's only because of some misunderstanding. But we know that, let's say this is a capital case, and we're trying somebody for murder, we always want to look at the lenient side. So the Gemara says, 3 lines on the top, Beis Amud Aleph, Uma iluy dakinan bahani sahadi, if it would be exact with this testimony, the haidika amar shalosh, betchila shalosh, when one says 3 hours, it means the beginning of the 3rd hour, haidika amar chomesh, and the one that says 5 means b'seif chomesh, means at the end of the 5th, then what would happen? No, where are you holding?
It's okay.
Not there?
You need to know where it is. You started Rav Huna. Here it says Ozel Rav Huna.
It can't be Ozel Rav Huna because it's the middle of a sentence. Anyway, so we'll say that the 3rd means the beginning of the 3rd, and the 5th means at the end of the 5th. V'hava edus mecheshes, and it comes out that it's a false testimony because the times are different. So we won't kill the person. And if you will say that they do correlate and they do correspond, you're going to tell me if there's a suffix. If we're not sure, you're telling me that we would kill the person anyway. We know that the means that you should try to save him. That means that you should try to be lenient, that he should not get the death penalty. So I don't understand. Just the opposite. You're telling me till now that they do correlate. The 2 witnesses, the testimony is the same. Just the opposite. Why don't you be exact with their testimony? And if you're exact with their testimony, then the person will go free. What happens is like this. It's not that we're not sure. When a person testifies, he makes a mistake between 2 hours. A little less than 2 hours. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person when he testifies, he makes a mistake a little less than 3 hours. Chaser mashu. Now that means like this. The liver and may, we had 2 cases. One case is the 2nd and 3rd hour. One guy says the 2nd, and one witness says the 3rd. And the second case we had Rabbi Yehuda said the 3rd hour and the 5th hour. Okay, again. We have 2nd and 3rd hour. One witness says the 2nd hour. The next witness says no, it was the 3rd hour, and we said they correspond. And only according to our mayor, because we say they're really either at the end of the 2nd and the beginning of the 3rd, so it's really the same time. Or we say, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he says even if the one witness says the 3rd hour and the other one says the 5th, they still correspond. Right? They really mean the same thing. So he's saying like this.
2 and 4 make it more obvious.
So
3 and 2 and 4 rather than 2 and 3 and
3 and 5. 3 and 5. We learn yesterday. We want to try to go. We'll see soon. Okay, it doesn't say clearly, but hopefully you'll understand. If not, you'll ask him. So anyway, what happens is like this: the second, Rameir says they have to be pretty much the same. So therefore, only 2nd and 3rd hour matches up. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, the 3rd and 5th hour match up because a person makes a mistake up to 3 hours, up to less than 3 hours. So 3 and 5 is the beginning of the 3rd, up to the end of the 5th, which is less than 3 hours. Right? 3, 4, and 5, which is a little less than 3 hours. According to our mayor, it's the 2nd and 3rd, so it's a little less than 2 hours. That means the beginning of the 2nd and the end of the 3rd. So, Elam Rav, Divra Me'o Adam Tayish Teishais Chasamashu, Divra Yehuda Adam Tayish Shalashais Chasamashu, Divra Me'o Adam Tayish Teishais Chasamashu. A person makes a mistake in something under less than 2 hours. Ma'isiki Hava. What was the story? What happened? So either it was at the beginning of the 2nd or it was at the end of the 3rd. And one of them is making a mistake in something less than 2 hours. According to Yehuda, a person can make a mistake, a witness can make a mistake in something less than 3 hours. What was the actual story? It was either the beginning of the 3rd hour or up to the end of the 5th hour. And somebody's making a mistake in something less than a third, in less than 3 hours. Right? Again, so let's say 3 to 5. What was the real story? It was any place from 3 hours to the 5th hour. So 3 to 5, the beginning of the 3rd to the end of the 5th, is less than 3 hours.
The problem is they didn't have watches. How did they?
They didn't have watches? That's exactly why they made a mistake. You're right. Today, they wouldn't have such an excuse. But back then, they looked at the sun, and people were not that good at telling time. So depends how tall your sun clock, the dial was. If it was very high, you were able to see better.
It could be a cloudy day.
It could be a cloudy. We'll see later how far. But even by a cloudy day, you can still see what time it is. Obviously, if it's very cloudy, you can. But fine. So the Gemara is like this: Tanan. The truth is, it could be, we'll see later, it could be that this is only because of sundials. So if it's only because of sundials, it doesn't hold up today. Today you can't make these mistakes. You look at your watch and see what time it is. It's not. So, Tanan, now, when a witness came to Bezdin, there was 7 chakiras, 7 questions in the cross-examination that they asked him. In the testimony, the beginning of the testimony, to establish his testimony, they asked him 7 questions as follows: Be'ezah Shavua, which year, which Shemitah was it? Be'ezah Shana, what year? Be'ezah Chodesh, what month? Be'kam Chodesh, what day of the month? Be'ezah Yom, which day? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Be'ezah Shah, what time, what hour? Be'ezah Makam, which place? Okay, so these are the 7 things that a person had to know in order to testify. If you don't have this, you don't have anything else. So the Gemara asks like this: Ma bein chakiras of bedikas? What is the difference between chakiras? Chakiras are what we just mentioned, and bedikas are different questions, like what color shirt was the guy wearing, what color pants, did he have glasses, what color hair, how tall he was. So chakiras amar echad mehen eni yedei yedusam b'teilo. If one of the chakiras, one of the 7 above mentioned questions, one of the witnesses says he doesn't know, then his testimony is nullified. Bedikas afilu shnei mamar me'inanu yedim. By bedikas, however, even if both witnesses say they don't know, edusa kayemes, it's just a part of the puzzle. It's just a small part of the story. So therefore, the witness still stands. It might be missing a point, something that happened, but the witness, the testimony still stands. V'avinabah. So the Gemara asks, I don't understand. Ma'ishna chakiris or ma'ishna bedikas? If let's say they don't corroborate, it doesn't add up. There one testimony, one guy says the guy had black hair, the other guy said he had blonde hair. So or a different color shirt. So why do we say in that case that the testimony still stands? You might have a problem, but the testimony still stands. However, by the chakiris, we say the testimony is gone. Ma'ishna bedikas. V'amrinan. Chakiras Omar Echem Yedea. By the Chakiras, by the 7 questions, if one of them says he doesn't know Edusa Metela, then his testimony is gone. The Havla Edish Yate Achalazima. It's an edus that you can't be zaymim. Now, edish Yate Achalazima means as follows: that when an aid comes to Bezdin, there's a halacha called Edom Zayman. Edom Zayman means that if 2 witnesses come to Bezdin, they say that on Tuesday we saw Reuven kill Shimon. Then 2 other witnesses come and they say, I don't understand. How can you say that you saw Reuven kill Shimon in Toronto? You were with us in Quebec. So it's not possible. Now you have to realize that it's Xeris Akasif that Edom Zayman, the murder witnesses are Edom Zayman. They're not accepted. It's Xeris Akasif because technically what happens is like this: you have 2 witnesses that say A, and you have 2 witnesses that say B. So why would you believe the second witnesses over the first witnesses? There's no reason. One is not stronger than the other. So, however, the Torah says that that's the way it works. Now, this only works in these cases. That means imanu atameyisin. That means you were with me in this time, in this day, in a different place. Now, it can't work with how do you know that you saw him, that Reuven killed Shimon? You don't know how to see these things. I don't know. You would look away. That doesn't work. Okay, it has to be specifically Iman Atam Yisim, you were with us in a different place. So now all the above mentioned 7 places, 7 questions are time and place questions. Right? They're what year, what date, they're time questions and place. So if these don't add up, so what happens is there's another halacha that witnesses that are not possible to be zaymim is not a good testimony. So that means if you come to Beth and you say, I saw Reuven kill Shimon, and you say when? I don't know, I saw him. I have no idea when. So it's not possible to be mazim these witnesses because I can't disprove them through Edom Zaymin. So therefore the testimony does not stand. So these 7 chakiras, if a aid comes to Bezdin and he doesn't know the answers to these 7, so then it comes out that you can't be mazim these witnesses. So if it can't be mazon, so then we can't use the testimony at all. However, if a person has a different colored shirt, the testimony still stands. They just the two witnesses don't add up. So maybe I'll have to find another witness. But each of the testimony of each witness by itself still stands. Okay. So the Gemara says like this: Verminon chakiras. Amar Achman any day do some detail dabla edushiati achalazima. I can't be mazim with the testimony, but bedikas edushiati achalazima he v'amrit. Now the Gemara says like this: if you're going to tell me that when a person says the time of day, he says third hour, fifth hour, he doesn't really mean that time. He could be up to under 2 hours off, or under 3 hours off. V'amrit tayi incha kula hai chakiras de edushan nami edushiati achalazima. If the guy says I saw Reuven kill Shimon in the fourth hour, in the third hour, and then eight of them come and they say, how is it possible you saw Reuven kill Shimon in Toronto? In the third hour, you with us in up north in the third hour. So it's not possible that you saw him. So you say, what do you mean? It's very simple. When he said third hour, it could be up to 3 hours off. So up to 3 hours off, what's the big deal? Really, it was in the fifth hour. And you actually saw me in the third hour up north. You're right. And the murder happened in the fifth hour, and I was there. So you can never be mazim. Just as now we have a bigger problem. When a person says at a certain time, if it can be wrong in the time, so you can't be mazim him. Yeah? So the Gemara says, the Amri Mitakatina, they say they made a mistake. The Avina Luhukula Tosayu. So they bring their mistakes. The Rameir Avina Luhu, the Gemara says in notes, I include their mistake. That means like this. The Rameir Avina Luhu Mitchila Sharishaina Atsev Chamesh. When I prove witnesses that they were wrong, they were in a different place, I have to actually prove it. And he says the third hour, I'll have to prove 2 hours up and 2 hours down. That means from the first hour down to the fifth hour, and prove that he was in a different place. And Atsev Chamesh, Ubedinu the Nasav Luhu Mikara. And the truth is that really it should be even more than that. That means like this: that somebody testifies in the second hour, right? So then 2 hours is the beginning of the second hour, so 1 hour back is the first hour. That means that's by daybreak, right? That's the first hour. The hour before that is really in the middle of the night. Right. So the truth is you should really have proof from the middle of the night. However, we don't do that. Why? Because a person does not make a mistake between night and day. So you're right, he might be 2 hours off, but he will not make the mistake in the middle of the night. So it means if he says, I was here in Toronto, downtown, in the second hour, he won't make a mistake that really it was the middle of the night. Because that he would be able to tell. He would say, I was in the middle of the night. Even though it's only an hour away, or it's 2 hours away, it doesn't make a difference. The fact is, night and day, a person recognizes and says. Rabbi Yehuda, the Avina Lu Mitchila Sharishaina Vatsev Shishas. According to Rabbi Yehuda, I need 3 hours up and 3 hours down. I need from the beginning of the first to the end of the sixth. And the truth is, I should really need more than that. A person doesn't make a mistake between night and day. And the truth is, if a person testifies after the fifth hour, I should need more than that also. Now, if we're going to look at a sun clock, right, a person can make a mistake, he can be off when the sun is in the eastern hemisphere. However, once already it's past Chatzos, so if a person said the fifth hour, he can make a mistake up to in the sixth hour, in the seventh hour. However, in the seventh hour, the sun is already in the west. So that far of a mistake a person doesn't make. Just like by night and day a person doesn't make a mistake, so too, east and west a person does not make a mistake. So now we established the halachas of testimony. Let's go back to the halachas of chometz that Meir says that you eat the fifth hour and you burn in the sixth, and Rabbi Yehuda says you eat in the fourth, you wait the fifth, and you burn in the sixth. So a person eats the whole fifth and burns in the beginning of the sixth. A person eats the fourth, waits the fifth, and burns in the beginning of the sixth. According to Rameir, that says in Rameir, the Rameir holds that a person knows how to tell the time exactly. Now you have to understand the halacha is that a person really is allowed to eat till the end of the sixth. We burn in the beginning of the sixth because you don't want to make a mistake. But according to Rameir, where a person does not make a mistake at all, so then he should be able to eat till the end of the sixth. It's very simple. You look at a watch, you see what time it is. You eat till the time you're not allowed to eat. And according to, we say that according to Rabbi, a person makes a little mistake, fine, so let him eat a little till the end of the 6th hour. And according to Yehuda, according to Yehuda, a person makes a mistake till a half hour, he should be able to eat till 6:30. And if you make a mistake, an hour and something, so we have to keep an hour before the end of the 6th, which is the end of the 5th. So Ella Amar Abaya. So now we have to understand why by chametz do we not have these precautions, and don't we say that a person makes a mistake? And by testimony we say a person makes a mistake, and the testimony does add up. So the Gemara says Ella Abaya. Eidus Mesurul is reason. A witness is only somebody that's a zaris, somebody that's exact, somebody that's disciplined, a person that understands what's going on. Like you have to understand that you have to know the date, you have to know what day it was, what hour it was. Most people, they don't know exactly. They know basically what's going on. They don't know exactly the date, or they don't know the year. So not as simple as it was today. Even today, how many people know exactly, to the half hour, to the minute, what time it is? So,
particularly when you're in the middle of something, you're not. You see.
That's also true, right? You don't know. You're walking down the street and you see a murder happen. You don't know what time it is. So, but a czar is a guy that's an exact guy, and he looks at the time, or maybe he'll have the discipline to look at his watch right away and figure out what time it was right away. So that's who a witness is. However, chametz l'chol maser. What do you do? Chametz, everybody's included in chametz. So therefore, we need precautionary measures. V'rava libid Rameir, the Amar Adam Tayish Deishais, and Rav according to Rameir that says the person makes a mistake with 2 hours, chaser mashu a little less than 2 hours. He shouldn't eat in the beginning of the 5th because he needs the 5th and the 6th. So we say like this, no, because hey cham mizrach v'zayin cham ma'ariv. The 5th, the sun is in the east, and the 7th, the sun is in the west. So if that's the case, then he should be able to eat in the 6th also, because the 6th is not in the east. The Gemara says, Shis, the 6th hour, the sun is in the middle. Now, the sun is in the middle. At that point, you'll recognize it. Rashi just points out that we didn't say that the sun is in the middle. We said Karnasa, because the sun goes on the southern hemisphere. It goes throughout the southern hemisphere, from east to west. So the truth is that it's in the middle. It's a meeting point of east, west, and south. So it's not really in the middle. It's east, west, and south. So therefore we say Karnasa. We call it Karnasa. Okay. Anyway, a person makes a mistake in under 3 hours. He shouldn't eat from the 4th hour. No, that he won't make a mistake, because one's east, the sun's east, and between east and west, a person will not make a mistake. And the 5th hour, the sun's in the east, and the 7th hour, the sun's in the west. The kolshkein dalit, and definitely not in the 4th, because in the 4th the sun's so much in the east that it'll definitely recognize the difference. So the Gemara says, Yachi behei nami nechel. So again, Rabbi Yehuda holds that a person's only allowed to eat in the 4th hour, not in the 5th, and in the 6th he burns. Now, if everybody recognizes the difference between the sun being in the east and the west, so why do we say that you're only allowed to eat in the 4th hour? You should be able to eat in the 5th hour. The 5th hour, the sun is in the east also. So a person, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, you will not get mixed up between the 4th and 5th hour, or you won't get mixed up between the 5th and the 6th hour. So therefore, you should be able to eat even in the 5th hour. So why does Rabbi Yehuda say that you're only allowed to eat in the 4th hour? So Tergum Abaya Liber the Rava Edis Masurul Zizim Chometz L'Chol Maser. No, we're a little more stringent by Chometz, because by a testimony you're right, a person makes a mistake and under 3 hours and east to west he'll make a difference. However, Chometz is for everybody, and therefore we need a little more precaution. Rava Amar Lav Hainu Time Rabbi Yehuda. Rava said, you know what? The halachas of chametz and the halachas of testimony are the exact same thing. Right? We learned before a whole slew of halachas and of testimony, and we're matching it up to chametz. So Rava comes and says that lav hainu time Rabbi Yehuda ella Rabbi Yehuda latamei damar ein bir chametz ella sreifa. We say like this, that the truth is that the reason for Rabbi Yehuda is as follows. The Amar Ein Bir Chametz Elo Sreifa. Rabbi Yehuda holds, there's a machlekes later on, what can you make Bir Chametz with? Either you could crumple up into crumbs and throw it to the wind, you could throw it in the water, you could flush it down the toilet, or you can burn it. Rabbi Yehuda holds that you have to dafka burn it. So what? Just because you have to burn it, why would that add an extra hour that you're not allowed to do anything? Okay? He's saying like this. The reason why Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're only allowed to eat chametz in the 4th hour and not in the 5th, unlike Rabbi Meir, is because Rabbi Yehuda holds that you have to burn it. So what? What do I need an extra hour just because I have to burn it? I need an hour to go collect wood. What's going to happen is like this. If you're saying that you're allowed to wait till the end of the 5th hour, it's going to come to the beginning of the 6th hour, and it's going to be too late. Then you're going to have to go collect all the wood to burn it. It's not going to be good. You're not going to end up burning it. So therefore the Chacham said, listen, let's be a little more organized. You're only allowed to eat to the 4th hour. In the 4th hour. The 5th hour you'll go, obviously you'll do it the last minute, so therefore the 5th hour you'll have to collect wood to burn. And then by the 6th hour everything will be burnt. So the Gemara asks like this: this is true. The truth is like this: the Rabbi Yehuda that holds that the only way to get rid of chametz is burning it is only in the time of the Rabbanan. You have to understand like this: the midaraisa, the time that you're not allowed to have chametz, is only at the end of the 6th hour, not at the beginning of the 6th hour. At the end of the 6th hour, the Rabbanan said that we do the 6th hour, or you don't eat by the 5th hour. But the thing is like this: burning the chametz. Right? When we want to be stringent, that's only when we still have a little leeway and we have a little time to burn the chametz. However, to get rid of the chametz. However, if you're right by the 7th hour and you must get rid of it right away, so everybody agrees, even if Yehuda agrees that you could do whatever you got to do, just throw it to the wind, get rid of it. Right? You don't have to actually burn it. What happens if you don't have wood and you're up to the 7th hour? If not, you're going to be over Issa Deraisa. So therefore, you don't have to burn it at the last moment. So the Gemara says like this: at the time of burning, you could get rid of it anyway. So Imkain, it comes out like this: you're telling me that we're waiting an extra hour to go collect wood because the only way to get rid of chametz is to burn it. I have a much simpler solution. What do? Let him eat till the 6th hour, and he won't have time to go collect wood and burn it, and it's going to be at the end of by the 7th hour. But at the 7th hour, I don't have a choice. I got to get rid of it anyway, even without burning it. So everything will be great. You understand? What do I have to wait and burn it earlier? Why don't I wait till the last minute where I can't burn it? And then I'll get rid of it any way I can get rid of it. Fine, but the Gemara says the Gemara seems to right, but the Gemara seems to understand that to aser eating for a whole nother hour just because you want to make a gzeira on top of a gzeira, who says we should do it that way? So the Gemara says like this: I understand that, but it could be that a gzeira on top of a gzeira that's going too far. You're putting yourself in a situation where everything has to be perfect. Who says? The truth is, we're scared of a cloudy day, where with the sundial, we won't be able to tell exactly what time it is, and you'll be a little off. So therefore, we need precautions. That's why we need extra hour.
In case it's cloudy.
So, well, it's a serious concern back then. They were off. There's a lot. So if that's true, even the 4th hour, if you're scared of a cloudy day, it seems that even a cloudy day, you can't even see the difference. Forget about 2 hours, you can't see the difference in 3 hours. You won't know anything. It could be the whole day, you don't know what time it is. So why the 4th hour? You should say the whole day, if it's a cloudy day, or whenever, an hour after Netzachama, or right when the sun rises. Well, you got an hour to eat.
Just eat breakfast and done.
Right away. Don't get 4 hours. What are you getting 4 hours for? So the Gemara says, no. Amar Papa, no. Why not? Because Amar Papa Dalad's Mansuda L'choli. Everybody knows, everybody eats in the 4th hour. So therefore, you got this natural time clock in the person that he knows. What?
Your stomach.
His stomach, right, starts grumbling. At 4 hours, everybody knows that this is time to eat, so you won't get mixed up with different times.
Even if there's no sun.
Even if there's no sun. Okay, Tanur Banan, Shah Rishayna. Now, how do I know it's time to eat in the 4th hour? The first hour, right when the sun rises, the first hour is Machaludim. Those are people, the people that eat a lot. And they can have a certain tribe that they eat a lot. Shnia Machalistim, robbers, highway robbers, robbers that are up the whole night, they're hungry already at the 2nd hour, and they eat. I don't know if you ever go to Eretz Yisrael, you see a certain group of people, they're always eating shawarma early in the morning, because they were up they're up the whole night. They work throughout the night. Shnia Machalistim, Shlishis Machal Yarshin. So those people that have big trust funds, young people that have trust funds, they have a Yerusha, they get inheritance, and they have wealth that they didn't work for, so they didn't have to work. They could wake up, they could eat in the third hour. Revius Machal Poilin. The fourth hour is meant for workers, because workers, even though they want to eat earlier or later, they can't. They got to listen to their employer. Chamishas Machal Tamid Chamim. A Talmid Chacham learns very early in the morning, so he waits till the last minute to eat. So he's learning. He doesn't want to stop his learning to eat by the third hour, fourth hour. So he pushes it off as long as possible, and he eats the fifth hour. Shishas Machal Kol Adam. The sixth hour, noon, everybody eats. So the Gemara says, what do you mean noon, everybody eats? V'amar Papa, we just learned before, Revias Masudachol. Everybody eats in the fourth. Ella Epach. So the truth is, you turn it around. You say like this, Revias Machal Kol Adam. The fourth hour, everybody eats. Chamishas Machal Poilim. The fifth hour, really a worker, an employee, wants to eat the fourth hour, but he can't because he's got to listen to his boss. Yeah. So he waits till the fifth hour. Shishas Machal Tamid Chamim. The sixth hour, which is the last minute, we'll see soon, the last time a person can eat. So the Talmid Chacham that's learning doesn't want to stop, so therefore he eats the last time that he can eat, which is the sixth hour. Mikam ve'elach kazurik even lechemus. If you eat after that, then it's as if you put a stone. If you want to make the volume of a barrel of wine bigger, so the normal way to do it is you add wine. Then you get more wine. However, if you put a stone inside, you might have more volume, you don't have more wine. So the same thing is when a person eats, he wants to eat because he wants to get nourishment, he wants to get the nutrition, but if he eats after 6 hours, it's like he just filled himself up with stones instead of with the nutrition. This whole thing that it's not healthy to eat after 6 hours is only if you didn't eat anything, even a drop in the morning. If you ate something in the morning, less lampa. Okay. Now, the Gemara says like as follows. Amar Ravashi has a big chiddush. This halacha that we learned, that the difference is by testimony, where you can be off an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, and the halachas of chametz, where we're scared a person can be off, corresponds one to another. Ravashi kamachlekes be'edus kach machlekes b'chametz. It's the same thing. Now the Gemara asks like this: Pshita, hainu hachta amrinan. I don't understand. We had a whole blot over here. The Gemara says we have a whole blot over here corresponding the halachas of testimony to chametz. Right? We just said all the halachas that we're scared of by testimony, we're scared by chametz. So all of a sudden Ravashi comes with this big chiddush and says that you should know that a mayor adds up to Rabbi Yehuda in both halachas of testimony and both halachas of chametz. The Gemara says I don't understand. It's exactly what we just learned. So what's the chiddush? You would think that maybe it's a machlokes. It's two different tanaim, two different talmidim saying the opinion of the Rabbeim of Ramei Rabbi Yehuda, and they really don't add up. I would say that they're machlokes tanaim, and they really don't add up. Kamashlan, that they're exactly the same people. Amar Avsimi Barashi Leishanu Ella b'shoyes. Aval echad oimer koydem netzachama, v'echad oimer achar netzachama edusam b'tela. This whole machlokes that we said that a person can make a mistake between hours, that's only in hours during the day, or we learned even only when the sun is in one side in the east or west. However, if somebody makes a mistake by netzachama with a sunrise, and the other one says it's after sunrise, then their testimony is gone. So the Gemara says Pshita. One of them says that I saw before Netzachama, where there's just a little glow of the sun, but the sun did not rise yet. And the other one says that I saw it during Netzachama itself. Edusam telos, their witness, their testimony will be batal. So the Gemara says, Pshita, what do you mean? One is in the beginning of, one is before sunrise, and one is during sunrise. So such a mistake a person doesn't make, a witness doesn't make. So the Gemara says, Mao the Tema, I would think, so the truth is that they both see one thing. The one that said that he actually saw it during sunrise, I would think that the truth is, he said he saw it during sunrise, but the truth is he did not see sunrise itself. It was just a glow of the sun. And therefore, their witness, their testimony does correspond. Kamashmalan, that it does not. That the one that said during sunrise actually means during sunrise, the sun is above the horizon, and the one that said before sunrise means before, and the testimony does not correspond, and it's bottom.